Oh my God, I can't believe it. They all died. Oh, what are they gonna do with the next one? What's up, everybody?
Miles thinks there isn't going to be a next one.
There's gonna be a next one.
He's
That's it.
convinced everything's done. They're all dead. There's no more movies. He was like, what did he say? He goes, Black Panther must have just been an entertainment. It had nothing to do because it didn't have an Infinity Stone, so it must have just been like a one-off.
Yeah.
I'm like, I just didn't say. I go, well, they did film another one already, Miles. There will be another one.
That's funny.
But I'm trying not to spoil anything for him. Like,
yeah, right. All right, we are live. Tweeted. I don't know how many people are going to jump in because they may or may not have seen the movie yet.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're probably going to get a lot of people not down to come in, but they can watch it later.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right. Say hello. Hello. We'll get a few people in here and then we will give the warning and then we will begin talking. And we'll start recording the show, but what is this? Oh, interesting. I see that TubeBuddy has a demonetization double check feature. In order to view match videos and submit them for manual review in bulk, a Star Hire license is required. Please upgrade. Yeah.
Yeah. Pay us money.
I don't think I'm making. I think it's.
I got an email today from my vlog number 10 that it was after manual review, it's okay to monetize.
Oh, gee, thanks.
So number 10 out of 100, and I don't think I posted for almost 2 months. So you're talking almost probably 5 months ago. Finally got to me.
That's a lot of money you would have lost that you lost on that. I'd be upset.
Yep. Well, $2.
$2. All right, so let's go ahead and get this ball rolling.
Let's do this.
I want to get to bed at a decent hour tonight. Let's see here. I see you put a hat on. Just realized that. All right. Do you want to open this or me?
No, go ahead. I like when you do it.
All right. We episode 21 here. Okay. Welcome back, everybody, to the OG podcast, episode number 21. In this episode, we got something very cool to talk about, the Avengers Infinity War movie. And we are going to be talking in depth, spoilers ahead. So if you don't want to hear about it, you need to go see it first and then come back and listen to the podcast. And Larry saw it today. I just got out maybe like a half hour ago from seeing it. And we're going to talk about that. But first, we need to say hello to Mr. Larry Dickerson.
Hello, hello. Hello, hello.
So, very excited. It was a hell of a movie. You know, and of course, there's not, a whole lot of people talking about it without, giving too many spoilers or spoiler warnings. And that's
but we here don't give a schneik about spoilers today.
No, because we are going to be.
I was so hyped about it that I mentioned it to Mike that we should just do an all spoiler review or an all spoiler podcast about it. And then he's like, but I haven't seen it. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, never mind then. And then next thing you know, he's running out to go see it. So,
well, it was funny. I said to my wife, I was like, look, Larry saw it. He wanted to do a spoiler full podcast. And I said, I bought a ticket to the movie to go see it. And she was like, oh, bummer. I wanted to go see it too. I was like, well, I'll go see it again. And I was like, I really didn't buy a ticket. I just wanted to see what you thought. And she's like, oh, you can go. I was like, all right. There's 2 tickets left at the 6th
See you later.
I got a good seat too. I was surprised. And like I was on the right side of an end row against the wall. And then apparently the people that bought the whole rest of the row is like another 4 or 5 seats. It's the lounge seats theater.
Okay.
Somebody didn't show up and that seat next to me was empty anyway. I was like, sweet. Not that it matters because he got like it's a big ass like lounge chair, basically people in it. So it's real nice.
Do they have assigned seatings there, or do you pick your seat, or is
assigned seating? And they were checking tickets.
See, I bought my tickets Monday, I think it was.
Oh, geez.
And I wasn't 100% sure if Miles' friend was going to be able to go because I pulled the kids out of school. So I bought the extra ticket just in case. And I told my wife, I'm like, well, if he can't go, no big deal. Then we have a seat, like you just said, next to us that nobody can sit in. So we're going to be all good. But when we got there, I saw our 4 seats and then this very creepy looking guy. So you would think, being father of the year, I'd be like, I'll take the creepy guy seat. No, I put the youngest kid down there. Sawyer at the end, Miles buddy, and then me on the aisle. I just kept looking every once in a while, making sure Sawyer was okay with the creep. And the creep would like say stuff, and he's like, I see Sawyer just like looking at him like, what a weirdo. And he just turned back.
Oh, that was nice.
But my point is, you brought up that they check your ticket. They did not even check my phone there.
Really?
Like nobody, like when you walk in, they got a kiosk to buy tickets. They don't even have like a person to buy tickets at this AMC in Huntsville. Wow. And granted, keep in mind, we drove an hour and a half to the movie theater because I wanted to see it in IMAX.
Wow.
And we got in, and like we got there an hour early, so I bought rolls of quarters for the kids to play games and stuff.
Yeah, I saw the picture.
And then we got our stuff, and then I'm like, it's usually we've been there, and there's usually like dudes standing in the aisle, like in the hallway to go back. It's split, and nobody. And we just walk through, and it's got like in that aisle is where you get your drinks, and it's got the self-serve drinks and slush machines and all that down there. So I'm like, where's this dude? I'm like, I literally could have not bought tickets. But I text Shannon. I'm like, well, they have assigned seating, so I guess it's not like I could take somebody else's seat and they wouldn't know or something. Right. But I thought it was very odd they didn't have somebody checking tickets or.
Now I sat down 2 seconds later. Guys, like, you got your ticket? I was like, yeah. What the fuck? I got in here.
You got a ticket, Mr. Alone Dude, weirdo,
sitting by himself.
Why? I have my ticket. Is there any kids that want to sit over here? That's cool. I'm good with that.
The girl next to me, the girl in the 2 seats over, she got up at the end of the movie, and I wasn't paying attention, and I had my phone, and I turned, and she just big old booty in spandex, and I was like, oh, hello, you got a nice.
I like it when we at the end of the movie, Miles is like, these people don't understand there's an end credit scene, because there's a bunch of people that got up, but I think they got up to like maybe go to the bathroom and come back.
Yeah,
I don't know, because there's a lot of people like standing in the like in the aisle, like when you walk out.
Nobody moved.
Really? Yeah, that's why I didn't. Usually when I'm at those, it's like nobody moves, but there's a few people that got up, and I'm like, you really like, this isn't our first rodeo here. Yeah, like this is like, yeah, like come on. I
was like, I wonder how many end credit scenes there are. So I was like, let me Google this real quick. And
I'd already known there was only one.
I was like, no, only one? I was like, oh, okay. I was like, this is good. And it's like all the way at the end.
Yeah. They want you sitting through all them credits.
Yeah, exactly. So, but all right. So we've given a few minutes. So we are going to be talking spoilers. So from this point forward, you have been warned. We are going to be talking details about Infinity War.
Yes.
And if you keep listening and you haven't seen it and you get pissed off,
you're a dummy.
you're
a big dummy.
You're an idiot. So anyway, all right. So
let's start with the biggest way we can spoil it. That if somebody's going to still listen, I'm going to ruin everything for them. I'm going to go through a list of the people that did not survive this movie.
There you go. Perfect.
First is Loki.
Mhm.
Was it Heimdall? It's Idris Elba. Idris Elba. The
Idris Elba, the gatekeeper.
Heimdall. Yeah. He died.
Heimdall, yeah.
Gamora.
Mm-hmm.
Vision,
Mm-hmm.
who actually died twice. Thanks, Doctor Strange, for the time stump.
Poor guy. That sucked.
Once really, really rough, and then a second time really, really, really rough.
Even more rough. It was just like
Black Panther, T'Challa, gone. Spider-Man, gone.
Oh, stop real quick.
Yep.
That was the saddest.
Yes.
Because he was like you.
It was like a father-son thing. Like,
yeah, like
I don't want to go. I don't want to go. And he's like tearing up, and I'm like, oh snap.
Oh, this just got real. And we'll explain that in a minute.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Doctor Strange, gone. Winter Soldier, gone. Mm-hmm. Sam Wilson, the Falcon, gone.
Yeah, good.
Scarlet Witch, gone. Mm-hmm. Groot, Star-Lord, Drax, and Mantis, all gone. The only one left is the bunny, Rocket.
Bunny.
Which I thought was hilarious.
That was awesome.
Nick Fury and Maria Hill, which I wouldn't have known her name if you told me, but it's the chick from How I Met Your Mother, who is like the S.H.I.E.L.D. agent that just hangs around with Nick Fury all the time. So that leaves us with Captain America, Iron Man, Thor.
I forgot Bucky. Bucky bit it too.
Did I say? I didn't say Bucky? Yeah. I'm sorry. Winter Soldier bought it. Captain America, Iron Man still left, Thor, Black Widow, Bruce Banner / Hulk, I guess. War Machine, Rocket and Nebula, like I mentioned, Rocket, and then the Black Panther people, Shuri, who's the Black Panther's sister, Pepper Potts, which I don't know. They list here Pepper Potts still alive, but you don't know that.
You don't know that because they didn't show. Yeah. That's what the one thing I was like. That'd be the first thing I thought that he would do is try to track her down. And
the same thing with like Hawkeye. Another spoiler. They didn't show Hawkeye at all throughout the whole movie.
You know what?
And they only mentioned him once in like a throwaway line.
Yeah, that was why he wasn't there.
Yeah, him and Scott Lang Ant-Man took a deal after Civil War and are under house arrest, which I knew the Ant-Man thing because that was in his preview for his movie, which is a whole nother like probably podcast. Like, what are they going to do with Ant-Man? If it's supposed to be after this.
I'm going to tell you right now, I wish they would just show Hawkeye in their house and just disappear. Yeah, the fuck out.
Well, but I know he's in the next one because I've seen set photos of him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, yeah, that's a lot of people died. Mm-hmm. Some died, like I said, Loki, Vision, and Gamora all died like at the hands of
Thanos.
Well, I guess all of them died at the hands of Thanos. Yeah.
Same thing with Heimdall.
Yes. Yeah. It wasn't. Was it Thanos? Yeah, it was Thanos that actually killed him too. Yeah. So yeah, and the other ones died in a different way, which we'll talk about when we'll probably break our way through the movie or whatever. But
yeah.
But when we get to the end of the movie, I'll refer back to our podcast where we talked about
you're gonna say.
Yeah, like how I said I wish the movie would end.
Yeah.
It almost ended that exact same way, but I said they wouldn't have the balls to just do it and then cut to black and that's it, because I think that would have been like holy, because you wouldn't have known who or whatever. But I know they wanted to try to set it up, because if they did that, you couldn't have any trailers for the next one, because the minute you show anybody.
Right. I still think the way that they did it was even more heart-wrenching.
It was, like you said, the Peter Parker one was just, I was like, oh my, like
that hurt.
But we'll get into that, because once I had time to digest it a little bit, I didn't feel as bad.
Right.
Right. So I don't know, how do you want to just sort of like walk through it a little bit?
Yeah. So it like you said, like you told me before, it literally starts right after Asgard blows up. And they are sending out a distress signal because they are being attacked by Thanos.
Which was the cut scene of Ragnarok.
Right.
Thor and Loki are joking, talking about Loki's saying, should you really take me to Earth? You know, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden that big ship shows up and then boom.
Right.
And then, like I said, this picks up right after that.
Right after that. So like you said, Loki bites it and Heimdall bites it. And Thor goes through some pretty tough beatings there for a few minutes, but pretty much they he basically leaves. Thanos leaves, and around him, everything explodes. Everything just on
Yeah,
fire.
he uses the power because at that point he has the Power Stone when
Right.
he's doing all his damage. Then Loki gives him the Tesseract. He
Right.
breaks the Tesseract open, gets the Space Stone, puts it in the glove, and then before he leaves, he just like makes the fist, and then you see like the purple from the Power Stone go all over, and then the ship explodes.
Right.
One thing that everybody thought was going to happen in the movie that did not is they didn't show him getting the Power Stone from the Nova Corps,
Right.
which is from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1. They left it there with the Nova Corps. So he went there and got it and probably wiped out everybody, but they didn't show that part, which I'm fine with because I didn't have any real connection
No,
to
I
any of those
think that's why.
characters or anything. Yeah.
Right. Oh, and before he basically disemboweled that entire ship, Hulk was with them too when uh it when the planet blew up in Ragnarok. But Hulk tried to fight Thanos.
Well,
And
and to lead up to that, Loki, you thought Loki was going to turn sort of on Thor
yeah,
a little bit, just for probably like a split second. But
right.
he turned himself and sort of sacrificed himself. But
Mhm.
in the meantime, when he's got the Tesseract, he's sort of telling, Thanos like, blah blah blah, and Thanos like, well, I like your whatever he said, and then he's like, yeah, but we have a Hulk, and then Hulk just runs out from the side and starts tackling Thanos, and then it wasn't very long before Thanos just whipped his ass.
Right. But the thing I don't understand is like Loki tried to screw you over and then let him talk after that before
Yeah,
killing him. And I don't know if he
yeah.
was going to kill him anyway, but it was just like, you need a guide on Earth, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I see that." And then he tried to kill him again, and then it
Well,
was
and then like I said, the preview, I put that together.
Mhm.
That Loki, we already knew Loki had the Tesseract from Ragnarok.
Right.
And my thought was always there was a shot in one of the trailers that showed Thanos holding Thor's head like he was going to crush it.
Mhm.
And then somebody made the point, they're like, maybe he's not going to crush it. Maybe he's making him watch something.
Yeah.
And my thought was that he was
True.
watching Loki die. But I didn't know how it was going to happen. But in my head, it was always Loki was dying in that first initial scenes because there's really not much you can do more with his character because he's already flipped back and forth so many times.
Yeah.
You sort of had to make him die to give Thor a little bit of a bump to let you know how serious. And it's a character that you could get rid of, and it really wouldn't, it wouldn't really do too much to the story.
No, definitely, definitely. And no, we didn't forget that yet. We will get up to that. That's like at the end. It's like
And technically, I left her off the list because you don't know.
yeah, you don't.
I mean, we know, yes, but I mean, if you're just going to go by just the encapsule of this movie, if you didn't see that person, you don't know what happened to him because
And the other
of
thing,
what happened.
I don't know. It's a little annoying. Like, oh, we can explain it when we get to that. But so after that scene, it cuts to what does it cut to? Is it
It's Tony and Pepper jogging or something, like
that's
setting up the New York thing.
that's right. And then that's when he gets pulled in by Doctor Strange.
And I like that, Tony's never met him, which this is supposed to be 2 years after New York, probably a year or so after Doctor Strange, yet they've never crossed paths. I mean, Doctor Strange knows everybody and all that stuff, but I mean, they've never, I don't know. It seems like this universe, at least on Earth, when I say universe, like the MCU, is not that big. I think that's their biggest problem. And it's not, I can suspend disbelief, but it's like,
Right.
you're telling me that if Tony had an issue, like Doctor Strange doesn't know that he may need help, or it's just like, whatever. And it's the same thing in comic books. There's not a bunch of crossovers like that at every single thing, but
No, you're right. You're right. And it was just like kind of rushed a little bit, like to get them together. And
yeah, I really, I mean, talking about the overall though, I really thought they did a really good job because I was nervous that it was going to be. I knew Thor, Rocket, and Groot because of the trailers were off doing a side mission. I knew they were making Stormbreaker just because I knew some of the comic book stuff. I knew what they were going to do, but I was worried that was going to be their whole. Like we weren't going to see anybody together until the next movie or like the last second of the movie, which it was close to the end, but not the last second.
No, it didn't feel rushed.
Yeah, and like same thing with the Guardians. And how they ended up with Tony and that, and like none of it felt like it was like, all right, we got to get everybody together type of thing. Like it was really organic. And I gotta hand it to the Russo brothers. Like it was, I can't imagine the storyboarding and just the writing of that, because you had to, if you did it wrong, it would have been really, really wrong. And to me, there was not any point where I'm like, well, I wish they would hurry up and get here, because it was like the next thing you know, that's what was going on. It was like bam, 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 bam. It did not seem like a 2.5 hour movie.
Definitely did not. I felt like I was there for like a half an hour.
Yeah, it was crazy. And like I said, the action, like it jumps, like it starts, like Thanos is there and you're going.
Right.
And it's like, it's nonstop.
Right. I think the slowest part was when they took Vision and Wanda and Captain America to meet up with what's his face? Oh Jesus, I almost gave him by his regular name. Don Cheadle.
Oh yeah, when they go to the Avengers or whatever. And then they had the general walking around as a virtual, and I'm like, yeah.
I was like, do we need that? Like,
I think they were just trying to, because one thing that I looked at is like, when I was done, is to see, could you have watched this movie and never have seen any of the other ones? And I think you probably could, because I think that's what those scenes are for. It's letting you know that Captain America's been a fugitive, and because of the Sokovia Accords, and this is the guy who made them saying, yeah, like I think that was just the sort of make sure in case somebody forgot, or you know, I guess they're not counting on everybody being like you and I have seen every movie and we know, you know, like all the characters and all that kind of stuff. Sort of like filler for the people just to make sure.
Right, but it happened so quick. Like,
yeah, it wasn't. They didn't hang on stuff too long. By the minute, like probably like what you're saying, by the time you realize where you're like, well, what's going on? Boom, they're like, it's you're already done with the scene, and you're like, okay, cool. I don't give a shit about that.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, so they do that. They start kind of start getting everything together. But I guess like the main thing is when Tony and Doctor Strange are getting together and talking, and I think that's when he went to get him after Hulk got put back on Earth, and that's what the one dude was doing Hemdall before he got killed. He was
like his last power or whatever.
Yeah, and that's when Hulk crashed through Doctor Strange's office or observatory, whatever you want to call it, and that's what started him the hunt for, like you said, a hunt for Tony. And they get together, but that's when they first experience not Thanos, but his like headhunters.
Yeah, what do they call them? I can't remember what they call them.
I can't remember what they were. Like it was like
there's a name for them, and it's slipped my mind. There's a name for those three. It's different in the comic, but anyways, his three henchmen, if you will. Yeah. I can't think of their name offhand.
But they basically come to Earth to get Doctor Strange's Infinity Stone. The Time Infinity Stone, and you know it's a pretty cool battle, and you know they ward them off that one time, but they definitely see that, you know,
Blackwater.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't think they ever referred to them as that in the movie. They all had individual names, but that's what they are. It's the Thanos' Blackwater.
Okay, so they like basically fail, and they send them off. I guess you want to say that, or chase them off. They don't really like, I don't know. They don't like really stop. They just more or less, just kind of to regroup. But then they go after, Vision. Was it Vision after that when they cut to Scotland?
Yeah, because they cut to Scotland. Vision and him, he's trying to be like, screw it, let's just stay running, because they've been out of contact for a couple weeks, which Tony was telling Doctor Strange that he's like, yeah, I don't know where Vision is. And Tony told Doctor Strange at that time, he's like, let's just get rid of the stone. Let's destroy your stone or whatever. And Doctor Strange's like, no, I have to guard this with my life. And him and Wu or Wang or whatever his name is, both were like, you know, no, we're sworn to protect this. That's not an option, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. And they're like, well, we got to find Vision because that's the other stone. And he's like, well, we haven't heard from him in a couple of weeks. He turned off his tracking transponder, blah, blah, blah. And then it cuts to him, and they really rushed the Scarlet Witch and Vision love story, because in the comics I think they get married, and it's a real romance, but I think they did it enough justice.
Yeah.
It's funny how Scarlet Witch no longer has a Russian accent or whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, but then it cuts to them, and then
they get
two
attacked.
of the Black Order is there trying to get them, and then Captain America and was it Falcon,
And
Black Widow?
Black Widow
Yeah,
show up.
to sort of save the day.
Yeah, and give the real beating to that one dude who you think is dead.
Yeah,
and turns out he wasn't.
Yep.
Whoops.
Oops.
So, but then that's like when it really heats up and you realize like there's like they're not going to stop. Like you could tell that they weren't going to stop. At this. Dave, we will get into that in a moment, but I have an opinion on that on more powerful. So I will discuss that in a moment. But moving along, it's I think they jump back to Thanos getting one of the other stones, right? I think is this when he went to
he went to nowhere.
He went to nowhere.
Well, yeah, Thor wakes up.
Yeah.
With the Guardians of the Galaxy. Guardians of the Galaxy find him because they go there and they're going to the distress signal that you hear at the very beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
Thor ends up on the ship. That's a really funny scene.
Yeah.
Like Gamora's all over. The best part was Drax when he's like, who is this dude? He's like, this is not a dude. This is a man or whatever. And then at some point they say, because he's got the one eye and the patch, and he's like, he looks like a pirate crossed with an angel or something. And like they just keep talking about how awesome Thor is. And then Star-Lord starts making his voice deeper and talking with an English accent, and they call him out. It was just really, really funny. Which that part though, as funny as it was, I thought was really odd because literally he just woke up. Loki was just killed.
Yeah.
All of the rest of Asgard is just killed.
Right.
And like he's like, hey, and he's joking around. And I'm like, that's a little. They're trying to grab that Ragnarok like jokingness and stuff and bring it in. And I'm like, I think you could have did better later on, but that was the one issue I had in that area. But it was, it was more like, okay, whatever. They're trying not to make it too heavy, I guess.
Well, then they kind of made it heavy after they separated because they went like on their own mission. They broke off when Thor, Groot, and the bunny.
Thor kept calling him a bunny. Rocket. He kept calling him a bunny, and nobody ever corrected him. So the whole movie, he's calling him Bunny.
Bunny.
But they go on their side mission, which was to
Thor's hammer,
forge, and make a new hammer, which ended up being Stormbreaker. Mm-hmm. Who anybody that knows the comics, knew that was coming. But they go there, and then the big surprise there, which was sort of cutting ahead, but Peter Dinklage. I knew he was in the movie.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, that's the dwarves that make that. I'm like, that's a little, why would they have him play the dwarf there? But people are like, well, he's probably going to be one of the Black Order. We just don't know yet because they didn't announce everybody that played everybody.
Right.
And then they go to see him, and he's a dwarf, but he's huge. He's probably like, I don't know, 30 feet tall. Dwarf, and he keeps saying dwarf, and I'm like, what? And they never acknowledge that he's like a 30-foot dwarf. He's just like, there was 500 other dwarfs that lived on this place, and Thanos killed them all. And but it ended up that he forged, which is the same in the comics, that the same people that forged Thor's hammer forged the gauntlet,
right?
The Infinity Gauntlet, and there's like a mold of it there, and he's like, what the hell? And then like he made his hands like dipped them in iron, so he can't do anything else.
Yeah.
And the star there's a bunch of getting the star moving, and Thor and they're rushing around to get this handle and whatever, and Groot takes a piece of his arm and makes the handle and cuts it off. So Stormbreaker is like the forged metal from a star, and then Groot is like made the part of Groot is the hammer.
Right. And the thing they left out, which you gave an explanation of when Thor had his arm up and the light was coming from his arm, that was going to be him doing the hammer, but that isn't what happened.
That whole scene was gone. There's another scene that was gone, which was just about in every single trailer, is them in Wakanda running at the camera with the Hulk.
Yep.
And the actual Hulk was only in the beginning of the movie on that ship, and then when he crashes in, he turns to Bruce Banner, and that's it. Yeah. And the whole thing throughout with Bruce is that for some reason he can't get the Hulk to come out. Well, pretty much the Hulk has been beat down and has become a bitch or something.
Right.
because he's just like if you can see like the green coming up, and then it's just like boom, and he says he's like he keeps telling me no, and then at one point you see the Hulk's face and he yells no, and then it goes back,
Right.
and he can't get the Hulk, he can't change.
That's because his mojo is gone, Dave. That's
Yeah.
what it is. He was like, I couldn't beat this guy. It's the only person I couldn't, beat down, and or feel like I beat down, because he didn't beat.
Something happened, but they may end up going into at one point when he turns into Hulk in the comics, he has the same. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff. There's been times where they've been separated, which is what people thought may have happened in this one.
Yeah.
But there's in the comics, there's a point where he can turn into Hulk and still be Bruce Banner, still all have all his intelligence, all his knowledge, and know what, all that kind of stuff. So,
right. And that's the thing. It's like, it's you're wondering why he was holding back, and the whole nine. But I think that's pretty much what the whole point was. He's basically a bitch, is like what you said.
And then so like I said, then they end up going to nowhere. Thor and them go off to forge Stormbreaker, which is pretty much that's them until the end. So that we'll probably just leave them until the very end. But then they go to nowhere, which is just Drax, Manta, Star-Lord, and Gamora. And before they go there, Gamora says, "Look, I know a secret that Thanos can't know." And Star-Lord's like, "Well, tell me." And she's like, "No, because if you know, then blah, blah, blah." So anyways, in your head, she knows where the Soul Stone is.
Right.
I mean, in my head, right. As soon as they mentioned it or something, she like gave a look, and I'm like, okay, she knows.
Yep.
So she said, if Thanos is going to get me, you have to promise to kill me.
Yep.
And makes him promise on his mother. So he does. They get there, and everything looks like it's fine. And he's beating up the Collector, and the Collector saying, "Oh, I don't have the stone, and I don't know, blah, blah, blah." And then she jumps out, fights Thanos for a minute, stabs him up in his head, stabs his chest, pretty much kills him. And then she starts crying because essentially she killed her father. And then you start hearing Thanos talk, and then he steps out, and then like everything fades and everything's destroyed and on fire, and he has the Reality Stone, so he changed reality. So then he ends up taking her. Quill says he's like he ends up trying to shoot her, but then his gun shoots bubbles because reality. I mean, Thanos is basically can do whatever the hell he wants. He like cuts Drax into little squares until he leaves.
Cool.
Yeah, like because Drax jumps at him and he just falls to pieces. Does something similar with Manta. And then he leaves with Gamora, and that's that part really. I mean,
right. I think then takes her back to the ship.
Yeah,
and
where Nebula is,
or to Nebula, yeah, and basically, forces her to tell him where where it's at, and because his sister was being tortured, so that's how he knows where the Soul Stone is. So, and then he makes her take him there, so there's no tricks, and then
that's the biggest. That was the biggest shock was when they went there.
Right.
I didn't see that one coming. I tried to stay away from stuff, but it was this was one that I didn't even hear people theorize.
Right.
So they get to the top of this mountain to find the Soul Stone, which I thought and a lot of people thought it was in Wakanda. Like that's how the vibranium and like everybody's way off there.
Yep.
They go to just some mountain on some planet that I'd never heard of before. They go up there and there's like a ghost guarding the way, and they're like Thanos and daughter Gamora, blah, blah, blah. And then as they start walking in, they show the ghost face, and it's freaking Red Skull. And you're like, holy shit. Like I looked at Miles, I'm like, Red Skull. And he's like, what's Red Skull doing there? And I'm like, what is going on? And that part really didn't make sense. I think it was more just to give you a little bit of closure with Red Skull, because so many people were like, what the hell happened to him? Because I don't think maybe the actor did the voice, but it was definitely CGI, whereas before it was like prosthetic. So I don't think the dude was actually there, whatever the dude from the Matrix.
Right.
He just sort of did his voice, but he sort of gave a little, like, I tried to get all the stones and this is what happened to me. I've been, banned here and I'm the keeper, blah, blah, blah. And then there, you can take it from there.
Yeah, but he basically said, in order to get the Soul Stone, you have to sacrifice something that you love. And this sounded making funny because I was fidgeting. Sorry. Got a lot of energy going on here. And basically, as soon as he said that, I knew exactly what was coming. And Thanos actually had a tear going down his eye, and she's like, "What do you have to be upset for?" And he's like,
she's laughing at him.
Yeah, and
thinking he's screwed.
Yeah, you don't have anything you love. And the guy turns to him and says, he's not upset, he's not crying about himself. And then it hit her, and she realized.
Yeah, he said, I think he said those tears aren't for him.
Yeah, those.
And then you're like, oh shit.
And I knew that already. As soon as he said, you have a soul for a life, for a life, a soul for what is it? A soul for a soul?
A soul for a soul, but yeah.
Like a life for a life. Yeah. And I knew it was her. And it was just like, oh, she's screwed. She's dead. And that's exactly what happened. He threw her off the cliff. And basically she died, and the heavens come down on them, and he wakes up in a very shallow lake, and has the soul stone in his other hand, in his right hand, and basically puts it in. And
we see that, and I don't know if you put this together, but we see that shallow lake again later on. If you want to wait, we'll get to it, but it's towards the end.
Okay.
So, but
yes.
And I think, and I'll say when we get to that, I'll give you my theory about that lake area.
Okay.
Because like I said, we see it again. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so at this point he has the Power Stone, the Reality Stone, the Space Stone, and now the Soul Stone, which only leaves the two that are on, well, supposedly on Earth, because one's on Titan right now with Doctor Strange, which he doesn't know yet. But the Time Stone and Vision's the Mind Stone.
Right.
Is the only two left. So he's already got 4, which at this point, I mean...
Yeah, he's pretty much unstoppable.
Yeah, and the whole reason, and Gamora explains this, and I thought it was just going to be a nod to the comic where she goes, hey, if he gets all 6 Infinity Stones, he can just snap his fingers and destroy half the universe. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh, they're just giving you a little lip service because that's what he does in the comic. Because in the comic, it's like, it's very early on that he does that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I have it right here, just in case anybody. But yeah, so anyways, he's got the 4 right now.
Right.
And then he should, which didn't make sense either. The dude that was taking Doctor Strange to Titan, I don't understand why they were going to Titan, because nothing was really, I don't know. I guess they just needed another scene, because that was one that just didn't really make sense.
That was the meetup. That was where he was going to meet.
Everybody was supposed to meet back. Okay. Okay. That's fine.
Back at his, so they just, he just kept going. Tony Stark was like, no, we're going to face him head on.
Yeah.
So we're going to.
Well, no, I mean, not the Tony and them, but I mean the actual dude from the Black Order. Like, why would they meet up on Titan? Like, it seemed like an odd. It seemed like that whole world is destroyed, but they didn't like give you like, well, no, this is Thanos' home base type thing. They made it seem like it was just sort of a destroyed world. Nevertheless, Tony ends up, Iron Man's there. We glossed over one of the coolest parts where Spider-Man is on the bus at the very beginning. You saw it in the trailer. He jumps off. He goes to the donut spaceship. Somebody made a joke. Tony made a joke. He's like, we're in outer space in a freaking donut. But he jumps on that and starts going up. And he calls Tony, and Tony's like, oh, crap. And then Tony calls back. He tells Friday, his suit's AI, to release like whatever it was, 17A. And then it shoots out of the Avengers thing and goes up. And at that point, I knew what it was, but it comes up and Peter's like losing air because they're going so high into the atmosphere that he starts falling back a little bit. And Tony tells him just to jump and I'll catch you. But that comes up, smacks him in the back, and then the iron spider suit just forms around him. And I'm like, oh! And then it shows him. And then, of course, Peter doesn't jump. He stays on or whatever. And then eventually it ends up being Doctor Strange is trapped, and Peter and Tony are walking around trying to figure out how to get him. Mm-hmm. And then he says, I think they got away at one point, or something happened. The 3 of them are talking. Or no, it's just Tony. Yeah, it's just Tony and Peter. And he says, have you ever seen that really, really old movie, Aliens? And then it just cuts to where, Tony's there, whatever. And anyways, they blow a hole in the side of the ship. and
Yeah.
then the dude just gets sucked out into space like Alien.
Well,
And
he says something like, he says something to Tony, and Tony's like, no, but the kid's seen some really old movies, and he blows out the window.
And then he blows it. Yeah. I can't remember what. You're right. I can't remember what he said, but it was really good.
Yeah.
So then they save Doctor Strange, and we're jumping around. We're giving you the gist, but our timeline's a little odd.
Yeah.
But Doctor Strange literally tells Tony and Peter, he goes, look, we get on this planet, and I'm there with Thanos, and it's between you guys and this time stone. I will not trade it to save your life.
Right.
This is too important to the universe to give it to Thanos, and you guys are not that important. So if it's you or the stone, adios, you're dead.
And Tony agreed.
And Tony said, yeah, whatever. He said, nice moral compass or something like that, or something. Yeah. Nice morals. So anyways, they get on there, and then they jump. Again, we're jumping ahead, but Thanos ends up showing up expecting to have his boy there, and It's just Doctor Strange sitting there. They had already come up with a game plan. And in the meantime, this was probably the coolest part. Doctor Strange is sitting there freaking out, but you can see he's got the green around him, so he's in the time stone, and his whole head's flipping, blah, 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 and everybody gets to him. By this time, the Guardians of the Galaxy are there. And he said, they're like, well, what was that? And he's like, I just looked into the future and saw all the different ways, the different outcomes of this. And they're like, how many? It's like 14.5 million or something, like 14 million different scenarios. And Tony's like, how many did we win? And he goes, 1.
Right.
And then they don't show you anything. And then next thing you know, Thanos is there chilling, or it looks like just Doctor Strange is there. Thanos shows up, shows him what Titan used to be, gives him a little bit of a backstory type thing. Like, Thanos, I thought one thing they did really, really good is I thought they drove home the fact that Thanos thinks he's doing the right thing.
Right.
He thinks he is saving the universe because originally on Titan, he told them there's too many people are starving, and we need to kill half the population. And of course, that's genocide, which we all know is not there's literally people that have this theory on Earth that they think that that's something that should happen because it actually naturally happens. You talk about like the plague and different things that happen to like thin the herd type of thing. So Thanos is thinking he's doing the right thing. I think that's where it really set in when he had to sacrifice Gamora, because he thinks he's doing the right thing. That's why he was crying, because he literally thinks this is what he has to do.
Right.
And so he's thinking like, this will save the universe. Like he's insane, obviously. But in his head, he believes he's doing the right thing, and everybody else is the bad guy.
Right.
Which I think they really, really did a good job at, because, like I said, that he's telling Doctor Strange the backstory of Titan, and he goes, and I was right. And Doctor Strange's like, well, great, you're a prophet. I don't know, what do you want me to say? He says something about we, and then Tony brings something, and then they end up fighting, and
they get to 3 quarters of the way off.
Yeah, so then Star-Lord, somebody figures out that Gamora's dead, and he starts punching him in the head. They literally had the gauntlet almost off.
Yeah, which, you didn't want to happen just yet,
Right, yeah, I mean, I don't know what it was, but there was a good chunk of the movie left.
Oh, absolutely.
So, so all that happens, it ends up, Tony starts getting I mean, you can't beat Thanos at this point. Like I said, he's got 4 of the stones. He's whipping the shit out of somebody. Tony's suit starts falling apart because it's those nanobots. He's only got half it. His helmet's gone. Like, and then Thanos stabs him like right in, which should have got him right in the heart, but whatever. So gets him like right in the side of his stomach, and he's getting ready to kill him. And then Doctor Strange is like, no, I'll give you what you want. And Tony's like, no, no, no.
Right.
And he looked at Tony and said, this is the only way. And to me, that said, this is the only way, because this is the one way that I saw this working.
Exactly.
So he already has a plan. In my head,
I already know what it is.
Really? Okay, good. So he's already told Tony. Tony knows what the plan is. The one flaw that I can see is if he told Tony, I guess he saw the future, so he knows he disappears and Tony doesn't. So, okay. So he tells Tony, this is how it has to be. Gives Thanos the stone, and then he's gone.
Yep.
He takes off. He's gone.
The time.
And he heads to Wakanda, where all the shit's going down.
Yeah.
So.
And that's literally the next place he goes.
Yeah.
At
Wakanda, in the meantime,
That was insane.
Yeah, Captain America's already shown up. Shuri's looking at Vision, trying to figure out how to remove the gem.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, they're there for 5 minutes, and then the Black Order show up with a bunch of, I don't know, dog, gorilla, spawn-looking things.
Insane looking.
Just billions of them in these ships.
Right.
And they start attacking, which you've seen in the previews.
Mm-hmm.
So they're fighting them. Shuri's trying to do it. It doesn't happen. They ended up fighting, blah, blah, blah. Thanos comes.
Well, Thor showed up and started.
That was badass.
That was really cool.
He showed up with Stormbreaker and just started tearing them all up. And then there's little like one-liners, like Captain America looks at him. He goes, "Haircut, I like it." Yeah. And he looks at Captain America. Goes, "I see you're stealing my look. You're copying my look of a beard." Or, and they smile or whatever. There's definitely some good humor in it. It wasn't forced in like Justice League, like trying. It was really organic and pretty funny.
And like when well, now Scarlet Witch was protecting Vision while he was getting operated on.
Yeah.
And she goes out and basically destroys a couple different things. And I think it was what's the I only
Michonne?
know. What's that?
Michonne.
Michonne. That's what I was just gonna say. By the way, the bald girl in Black Panther, that's Michonne from Walking Dead. People didn't know that.
Yeah.
She looks at Black Widow and is like, she was up there, but where was she been this entire time?
Yeah. So I mean, in that point, you had Groot show up, Rocket show up, Thor show up, and when Thor showed up, I mean, it was just like you saw the lightning come and just blew. He's just blowing them away, throwing Stormbreaker all over and just kicking ass. Like it was awesome. That part, I was like, I actually clapped. I'm like, yes. And then they seem to like get that under control. Mm-hmm. Vision's out there. He tells Wanda, Scarlet Witch, you have to destroy the stone. He can't get
magically, like get to one spot like that.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, that was quick.
Yeah.
I think they just cut. But because they were like, it got real quiet. And they were like, what's that? What's happening? And then they all are just kind of there. And it's like, it's Tony Stark, Thor. No, I'm sorry. It's not. It's No.
Tony never. They're still on Titan.
Thor, Bruce Banner, Captain America, Black Widow, Vision, Black Panther, and trying to think who else is there.
War Machine's there, Winter Soldier, like literally everybody except for the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, that's
Tony and Spider-Man and Doctor Strange. Everybody else is at Wakanda. But the one scene that you see in the trailer where Captain America's holding back the gauntlet, you're like, oh crap! Well, that lasted for 3 seconds. Then Thanos just punched him right in his freaking head and laid him out,
knocked him out.
Like it gave you that enough for the trailer where you're like, oh man, Captain. No. He got his ass handed to him, just like everybody else. And he did a bunch of cool stuff with the gauntlet when he was, whatever. But in the meantime, Wanda's like concentrating she's blowing up the Mind Stone.
Yeah, he
trying to.
Vision basically convinces her to destroy it.
Yeah, so she's shooting at him. Everybody else trying to fight Thanos to buy her some time to blow it up. Mm-hmm. And then he gets so close that she starts pushing back to him.
And then blows
Which I don't know how all of a sudden her power is so just powerful, but okay, whatever.
Love.
So then all of a sudden she blows him up and everybody's like, oh, okay, well this mofo ain't got that. And Thanos just like looks around for a second. He's like, you guys are stupid. And just makes a fist. And you see the green come out from Doctor Strange with the time stone. And he starts turning it around. And you see everything rewind. And like Vision start coming back up. And you're like, oh, snap. And then Vision comes up. And he just grabs him and like rips it out of his forehead with 2 fingers. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden Vision's just gray and laying there. And his eyes are white. And he's just gone. And I'm like, holy shit. And that's why I was saying he died twice.
Right.
And like, so you think about Wanda, who like got up the nerve to kill her love, blew him up, and she's like, woo, we saved everything. And then rewind, bring him back, and she's like, oh, what the? Because nobody else rewound. It was just that point. He just rewound Vision. So everybody still knows that he had already blown up. Right. Rips it out. So he dies again and puts it on. And then like his whole body's just like, you can see all the different colors like going through him, whatever. And then just, he snaps his finger.
No, Thor comes in and
you're right. Oh my god, that was the best part too.
In his chest, and he's like, and he's basically almost out, and he goes, "You should have put it in my head."
Yeah, you should have aimed for my head, and then snaps his
Snap.
because he was firing like some kind of rainbow laser,
Yeah.
and Stormbreaker went through it. So I mean that tells you how powerful that hammer is now.
Yep.
And well, axe hammer, and like dug into his chest, and then Thor came up, and Thor's just like, "Yeah, I told you were gonna die," and blah blah blah, and he's like, "You should aim for my head," and then snap. And then when he snaps his fingers, he like all of a sudden like nothing really, you don't see anything happen, and it cuts to him, and he's standing in that shallow lake without the gauntlet, because he looks at his hand and there's no gauntlet on it. And the young Gamora is in the middle, like in a little
hut, like a
gazebo type thing.
Yeah.
And he walks up, and she turns around, and she goes, "Did you do it?" And he goes, "Yes." And she goes, "At what cost?" And he said something like, "A great one," or something. And then it cuts back and starts showing everybody just start disintegrating.
Well, he fucked up that glove.
Yeah, when it showed him out of there again,
his arm,
it looks like the gloves like formed to him now, like melted to him. His whole arm's all burnt up or whatever. But my theory with that is, in the comics, and I don't know if this is where we'll get to everybody that how they disappeared or whatever, disintegrated. In the comics, they sort of fade away. And I like how they did this in the movie. They sort of almost like turned to dust and just blew away. They were gone.
Right.
And it happened like in front of people in the comic and in the movie and whatever. But I think that when he got the Soul Stone and woke up in that shallow lake, and again in this, I think that's like in the comic, there's like the inside of the Soul Stone where it will actually take souls and keep them there. Now, I'm not 100% sure on if when he snapped his fingers and people disintegrated and disappeared, like if that's where they're at, and that's maybe some way we're going to get them back, because I don't think everybody's gone. I mean,
no, I don't think so.
I think some people, I think they're going to use this to reboot some stuff, and I don't know how they're going to do that. So I think that he was inside of the Soul Stone. I think that was Gamora's soul, like her real soul was talking to him saying, "You dummy, look what you had to sacrifice to get this." Right. And the same thing when he actually got the stone, I think he was sort of in that plane. I think it's like an alternate plane. Mm-hmm. So I think that's what that was.
Right.
But yeah, so then it cuts back. He's gone. Like he sort of fell through something and ended up there. I don't think he ended whatever. He fell through like one of his portals and was gone.
And basically went back to, I don't know if he went home.
Yeah, I don't know what they show him again, and I don't know where that is. But he had mentioned that once he's done,
he wants to.
He tells Tony, he's like, "I just want to sit somewhere and look at the sun rise and set on a grateful universe," or some shit like that.
On a saved, on a saved universe, or
and literally like so. Then you see. I can't remember who the first one.
He was the first one.
Was it Bucky?
He was walking towards Captain America.
Right.
Like, what? And you see his hand just start disintegrating. And then everyone in that spot, you've got he disappears, and then I think Groot starts disappearing.
Yeah.
And then Black Panther, which I was like, I was like, no.
I didn't really like the way they did his too, because he went up to Michonne. he's like, "This is not the place to die. Get up." And he starts lifting her up. And as he's lifting her up, you see him first, and then it just shows his arm, and his arm just disintegrates. And I think it was good though, now that I say it, because it shows her face.
Yeah.
And her king just like disappeared, and you can see she's like, "What in the hell?" And then, like you said, I mean,
Falcon and War Machine.
Yeah, War Machine, Falcon. Like,
War Machine doesn't go; it's Falcon.
It's right. You're right.
Yeah.
So then it shows all them, and then they're all just sort of standing around. Then it cuts to Titan.
Oh yeah.
And first it's Drax, I believe. No,
it was
Mantis, and then Drax.
Right.
And then Tony looks at Peter,
and Peter says, "I don't feel so well."
And Tony goes, "Stay strong," or something like that. He says something to him, and then he's gone.
Yeah.
And then he turns to Doctor Strange, and he goes to him, and Doctor Strange, you can see it's happening to him. And he looked at Tony, goes, "We're in the end game now."
Yeah.
So again, he knows exactly what's going on, and all this has to happen. Mm-hmm. So he goes, "We're in the end game now."
Right.
And then he's gone. and then you hear Peter go, "Mr. Stark," or something like that, and you're like, "Oh no!" And you turn around and he's like
I don't feel
all out of it and whatever, and then Tony's able to hold him,
right.
and Peter's like, "I don't want to go," and he's like tearing up. He's like, "I don't
Yeah,
want to go," and he's holding him, and I'm like, and you can see like the thing start the dusty whatever, and I'm like, "Holy shit!" And he lays him down, and then he's gone, and Tony's freaking out, and the only ones that are left is Tony and Nebula, I
right.
believe, right?
Yeah, yeah. Him and
Yeah.
they're the only ones left. Yeah.
So those are the only two there, and I'm just like, whoa. And then it showed Thanos in like walking out of a hut
Yeah.
on some planet, and you can see his arm all tore up, and the gauntlet like it looks like it's fused to him.
Yeah.
And then him just sort of looking out at, I don't know if it's a sunset or sunrise or whatever. And then it cuts back. I think it cut back to no, it cut to Captain America first, where he's just like, "Oh God, what's going on?" And everybody that's left is standing around him. And then it cuts to Thanos. Thanos looks out.
And then
Boom.
and that's it.
That's it.
So, and then the end credit scene is the baddest motherfucker on the planet.
Well, I like you get before. So yeah, so Nick Fury and whatever I said her name was from How I Met Your Mother
Yeah,
are driving in an SUV, and they say, "Hey, they picked up some signatures by Wakanda,"
a
and
massive.
they're like, just like what was here with Tony, you know, in New York, and blah blah blah. And he's like, they're like, yeah, and all of a sudden this car like slams in front of them.
Yeah,
and they get out to look, and nobody's in the. And honestly, it didn't really click into me at first. They're like, yeah, they're like, she's like, nobody's in there. And then he turns around, you see a helicopter smash into a building. I'm like, oh. And then she starts disappearing. She's like, boss. And she starts going. And then he's like, oh shit. And he runs around, grabs a pager.
Like a futuristic pager, though.
It looked like a hack page. I don't know about futuristic. It looked like somebody been Jimmy rigging with that.
But all of a sudden he starts disappearing.
Yes.
And he goes, oh, mother. And then
and then he's like, he's gone. Yeah. And then the pager falls down and it says sending.
Yep.
And then like sort of like some bars. And then it's like a small LED display. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden that changes to her symbol, and then changes like green and or blue and gold, or blue and or red and gold, or whatever it was, shows her symbol across, and then it's off.
Now, I think when they do that, obviously, then they're gonna have her. I think hers is in 2019 before this. But the thing that bothers me is like, and I did a little bit of searching when I got home, people's theories on where has she been,
right?
And like there really isn't a whole lot of explanation.
They're gonna have to get into that because her movie comes out next year, before the next Avengers movie.
Right.
And it's based in the 90s.
Right.
So
and that's the thing.
Where was she during New York?
Right.
You know, or Age of Ultron?
Some people think, like, one of the theories I saw was that she did something or beat something, and they were talking about in Ant-Man, they were talking about going to that alternate universe, kind of like the nothingness type of deal,
the micro realm thing, where the Wasp lady was trapped or whatever.
Right. They think that's where she defeated someone, and they're basically part of that world. And she gets to like one of the pieces, like disguises itself and sucks her in there, and that's where she's at right now, or something like. So
that pager's gonna pull her out or some shit?
I have no idea, and that's a lot to explain. But I think she's the one thing that Doctor Strange might be talking about, is the one thing that allows them to prevail. I think that's the.
See, and I think with Ant-Man, I think what they're going to do, which I think is a huge mistake, I think they should have released Ant-Man before Avengers. I think Ant-Man is going to be right after Civil War, just like Black Panther was. Black Panther literally picks up right after Civil War, like he's on the plane coming home.
Yeah, after his dad dies.
Yeah, after all that shit with, after they capture the dude. I think that's what they're going to do with Ant-Man. I think it's going to be right after Civil War. He's going to make that deal. And I think the end of that is probably going to be him seeing something on the news about.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. And I don't like that because I don't know how else they could do it. I don't know how you're going to have an Ant-Man movie where he knows all that shit's going down in Wakanda and New York or whatever, and he's chilling because he can't leave because he's under house arrest. Like, that's just not going to work.
No,
I just don't think that's going to work. So that's the only thing I can figure is that it's not going to be like in the exact timeline. It's going to be before.
It can't be.
And it comes out next month. That's why it's just like I wish they could have just pushed it up, whatever. But
yeah.
That being said, what I hear about Captain Marvel is in her movie, it's going to be she's fighting the Skrulls, which the Skrulls are like body snatchers. They can look at anybody, and they say that that's the theory of how they're going to reset that. And I'm thinking, I've heard theories that they think one person. A lot of people think it's Black Widow because she always changes her look in every movie, and that's sort of like a subtle nod to say, yeah, look, she's not who you think she is. But I'm wondering if the ones that didn't disappear could all be Skrulls. Like if something happened to where they are. Then again, I think that would really, if you did everybody like that, I think people would be pissed that Captain America, Iron Man, like in the comics, it's literally all of the Avengers.
Right.
Are Skrulls. That ends up being what it is. I think if you just have one, that would be fine. And maybe they kill somebody or do something, you can reset a few people that way. Like Captain America, from all I've heard, is he's gone. And in the comic books, either Winter Soldier or Falcon have both been Captain America at different points. And technically, Captain America right now isn't Captain America. He's Nomad.
Yeah,
which they didn't say that, but basically that's what he is.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't know. I don't know how Captain Marvel, they're going to have to really do something good for me to be like, okay, how is she showing up now?
Right.
Because in the comic, Nebula ends up getting the gauntlet off of Thanos. And then it goes on to Adam Warlock, they've only mentioned for a split second. And I think it was a cutscene of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 where that gold lady's like, I think we'll name him Adam. And it shows like a box where she's growing a guy or whatever. So everybody thinks that's going to be Adam Warlock. Well, Adam Warlock in this gets the Infinity Gauntlet and he does his thing and brings everything back to the way it was. I don't think you can introduce a character that massive because he's a huge, like he's the strongest like Avenger ever type of thing. So I don't know. I think they're going to give that role to her.
Yeah.
But like I said, I don't know how I'm sure they have something figured out. I mean, they're way smarter at this stuff than me, but it's got to be good or I'm going to be like, that's a big hole to say she decided, why didn't Nick Fury call her during New York if he had that,
right
thing? Because he's in the movie. He's in that 90s. He's in Captain Marvel. Him, Ronan the Accuser, the dude from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1 that they had the dance off. Remember that? But they mentioned that in Infinity War when he goes, oh
my God. Yeah.
He's telling Iron Man, he goes, well, I'm sort of a big deal, whatever. Drax goes, tell him about the dance off to save the universe. He goes, what? Oh my God. Anyways, there's some really good one-liners in there that sort of come back at you. But he's in it. And I heard somebody theorize that because Thanos in this movie, Infinity War, mentions that he had passed up on his destiny once before.
Right.
And people are like, they think that maybe he's going to show up in Captain Marvel. And for some reason, he didn't do something there. And this is, him coming back around to it. So maybe something happens with her there. And then I don't know. I'm sure it's going to be convoluted, but
yeah.
I'll overlook anything.
So real quick, if Dave's even still in here, he had mentioned who was more powerful, Superman or Captain Marvel?
Right.
Not in the same universe.
Yep. It doesn't matter, Dave.
Point. Doesn't matter. They don't exist in the same planes. It doesn't matter. Sorry.
If you wanted to say, if you want to do that, you should say like Shazam and Superman. Those are pretty. Yeah. They're almost like based off the same exact looking character and everything. But yeah, I don't.
I hate when people say that. Like, well, who's stronger, Superman or Thor? I'm like, it doesn't matter. It's just not the same.
I tell you what, I got a lot more respect for the character of Thor. I wasn't a Thor comic book fan. It just wasn't
either
my thing. Nope. But this Thor. And like you had mentioned earlier when we were texting, the second Thor was horrible.
Yeah, after I watched the second Thor, I didn't want to watch Ragnarok. I was like, this is going to suck as bad. What is this? I was like, first off, it does. No, it doesn't matter. you know, when I saw, like, you know, I was like, oh, that second one was just god awful horror.
Yeah.
And I was like, I really don't want to see another love story between Chris Helmsworth and fucking uh uh Princess Leia and
Not Princess Leia.
Luke Skywalker's mom.
Yeah. Yeah, Jane, whatever her name was.
Yeah, I was like, what is this garbage? I was like, no.
Yeah, I think they're gonna make Captain Marvel the strongest character we've ever seen
Yeah.
in the Marvel universe, which they have to beat Thanos because they've made Thanos the strongest person we've ever seen or character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So they have to one up her.
Yeah.
I just don't know how they're gonna. I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm very
They
interested.
all need to.
Yeah, and spoiler alert.
It's a little late for that.
I've seen one to give you guys a little bit of backstory. Like, we actually were in Atlanta a few years ago when they were filming. That whole New York is all downtown Atlanta. Like, we saw, it's so cool. Like, we saw the street where they were filming, where they came out of the Santorin, the Doctor Strange's house.
Yeah.
And then when you went around the block, they had parking lots just full of like cars cut in half.
Oh, that's
like uprooted trees, and then they would take big fork trucks and they were lifting like cars up, they were smashed and bringing them over to put them in place and stuff. It was really cool. But I saw set photos because I was very curious around that time, and they must have been filming the second part because it shows, like, and you can Google search this, Captain America in that really crappy outfit from the first Avengers, and he's got some kind of wristband on. So there's some kind of time travel going on. So I'm not sure what they're going to do, but there's a lot of set photos of people in their old uniforms. So it looks like they're going to be revisiting like the old movies.
Oh.
And something's going to be going on with that. Now, I don't know. I was talking to Miles about this, and I go, I don't know how they're going to, because he was like, they're going to have to go back in time. And I didn't tell him I saw the set photos and that kind of stuff. I want him to like really enjoy this. But I told him, like, well, how are they going to go back in time? Because Doctor Strange was the only one that knew how to use, even if they get the time stone back.
Well,
I guess Wu or whatever could, or somebody could. They got that book, but.
Well, Captain, good Lord, I'm losing my mind now. Doctor Strange could always come from the past to the future. And
oh, snap. Blowing my mind.
Blowing
my mind up.
You feel like blowing my mind up.
Yeah, it's going to be something. I think the next one is going to be very, like, you're going to have to pay attention because I think it's going to be a lot of.
Yeah. But I think Captain Marvel will need Thor. I think Thor and Captain Marvel are a big piece in taking down.
They're going to make Whoopi.
Yeah, I think so.
And they're going to have like a Thanos killer baby.
And they're going to have Superman. That's going to make Superman.
So Superman must be more powerful than Thor and Captain Marvel.
Exactly.
If he's the offspring. Yeah, all right. There you go, Dave. Your answer has been given.
But ultimately,
you're welcome.
At the end of the day, I think they should defeat Thanos, but no one come back.
And something's going to happen because, like I said, I mean, Robert Downey Jr. is looking really rough.
Yeah, well, you said he said he didn't want to do it anymore.
Right.
He said he was done.
Well, he said that a long time ago, and then they're like, here's a ton of money. He's like,
oh, that's right. I'm back.
Alrighty, I'm back. But they're going to have to do something to reset. And with time travel and this and the Thanos, like, there's a perfect opportunity to, if you don't want to kill somebody, you can reset something and be like, all of a sudden Tony Stark is, Justin Timberlake. And you're like, how in the hell? It's like, well, no, he's always been that because something happened. You can change the actor because something happened, and it's always been that. He's lived through all that stuff. Even though the movies we saw, like in the reality of the world, it was always this character and it was a younger guy type of thing. Like, I think you can do something like that and it'll work. Yeah. I do think some of them are going to have to die, or this whole movie is going to seem very cheap.
It's going to be hokey. If
there's no consequences, if at the end of the next one, everybody's like, hey, let's have shawarma again, and they're all eating in a diner, you're going to be like, no. There has to be a price to pay.
I think spoiler alert, I think Gamora is going to have something to do with helping get rid of Thanos. And I think Thanos is going to realize that what Red Skull said to him is that I tried to do the same thing that you did and everyone failed. I
Right.
think he's going to be sucked into the Soul Stone and trapped there, and I think that's going to be his ultimate demise. And I think Gamora is going to have something to do with that and trapping him in there. I think that's
Maybe that's where he is.
he could be. His soul could already be in there.
Right, because we saw him in the lake, and then we just saw him in that hut.
Right.
Like, and he said that's what he wanted. So maybe he's like in some kind of Oh, that's interesting.
That basically that's where his soul is. I think
The biggest problem that I have, and like I was whispering to Shannon because I didn't want to ruin it because Miles is like, it's never going to be Black Panther again, but they're already in talks to make Black Panther 2.
no, I think
Spider-Man 2 is already coming.
Yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is in the work. You know what I mean? Like, I hate, unfortunately, that all that stuff comes out. And I know why it has to. They have to do that because then that gets people buzz and stock goes up and stuff like that. But it's like, God, I wish that you didn't know this stuff. Because I envy Miles at 8 years old, not knowing that there's another Black Panther movie. They already signed a deal or Guardian. Like, he thinks this shit is over.
Right.
And doesn't know how. And that, like, literally, Shannon was joking how she goes, they must have really liked the movie because they haven't stopped talking about all the stuff. And she goes, usually when they get home, either they don't say anything or they mention their favorite part and that's it. But they're literally like engulfed in what's going on, who died, why they died. And like Miles is convinced that the cinematic universe is over.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing left to do. So
what do you
I like that.
What do you think of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse coming out next year? I know that's like kind of off topic, but
the cartoon?
Yeah, I think that looks badass.
I think it looks badass too. I like the whole Miles Morales thing. I like that character.
How many of me are there?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that's badass. We didn't talk about that. We can sidebar for another day.
Yeah.
So knowing like you said, knowing that these other movies are coming out, it's just kind of like, well, where are they going to set them? And it's just kind of like, because Black Panther, you could technically set before Infinity.
Well, and honestly, in the comics too, Shuri has taken up as the Black Panther. So I mean, I guess they could play that angle. Guardians of the Galaxy are sort of like the Avengers. There's like a rotating Star-Lord, I think, is always there, but I think there's always been like a rotation of different characters. So I mean, I guess you could do that as well.
You don't know when that ended, because that could also be a prequel too.
Yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of stuff they could do.
Yeah. It'll be interesting because they didn't really give a timeline about Black Panther. It was just kind of like already going on. So who knows? It'll be interesting to see how they time it. I don't want them to bring everyone back. Like I want some of it to be a finality. You know what I mean? Like I don't think Vision's coming back. I think he's done.
Yeah. See, and you said something about Gamora, and in my head, I thought Gamora was done. But then again, their relationship with her and Star-Lord, I think, is a big part of Guardians. So I think Loki's really dead.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Because I think he even said that he was pretty much, that guy, Tom Hiddleston, has said he was done.
Yeah.
But then again, like I said, they throw some money at you. I mean, Loki's died like 3 times already.
That's what, what it's funny because he said,
no resurrection this time.
Yeah, he goes, this is the second time he's died.
Oh, I thought Thanos told him when he killed him. He goes, no resurrection this time, because I think Thanos brought him back.
Yeah,
at some point is what it sounded like, at least.
But it could always happen,
Yeah.
But I don't think you need to. I think that's one, like you said, that's one of those ones where he basically showed his true colors to his brother.
Yeah, I think they ended that character like it was a good ending. I hope they don't bring him back. Like let that one lay. Like you said, Vision. I don't think they're gonna bring him. I mean, he's basically a fucking robot. That I mean, maybe Shuri got so close to where she could finish what she was doing without the Mind Stone. But like I said, I think you have to have some people have to really be gone for this movie to really have
it has to.
And I think honestly, I think they have to get. I would like to see a larger character. Like Vision to me wasn't that big of a deal.
No.
Loki's a pretty big character, but he's been, down. He's not like, I'm talking about one of the main Avengers.
Mm-hmm.
I think you really need to, something needs to happen there but honestly, I can't think of one that I would pick.
Right.
Where I'd be like, well, I'm okay if they ended up, I think they're just going to have to reset, like I said, with like a younger actor for some of these guys or different actors. Captain Rogers may actually, or Captain Rogers. Well, he is Captain Rogers. Captain America may actually die or something happened to him. And then, like I said, we know Winter Soldier or Falcon have been Captain America in the comics. And there's been foreshadowing, like the Winter Soldier, like he throws in that movie, he throws the shield at him, and then Winter Soldier's holding it, and it looks like it's him, and so I could see something like that happening, and people be like, okay,
but Bucky,
and well, yeah, but Chris Evans has said he was done.
right.
And then I've been trying to like stay away from Infinity War and all that stuff on Twitter and everything. So I've been like sort of off, but I saw like a headline that said Chris Evans said maybe he's not done in the MCU. And I'm like, okay, I'm not reading it because I don't want to know anything. But at least before I saw the movie, I'll probably try to backtrack and see what that is.
Right.
But it could be if he is done, it could be like flashbacks or something, or
And that's the thing is like I went to look at the, I guess you're gonna call it Avengers 4 or whatever. I don't really have a title for it yet. You can
they said they won't give out the title for a few months too.
Yeah, you can see a cast that's listed on there.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean anything. That could be that could definitely be like flashbacks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because there's a number of names on here are people that bid it tonight.
Yeah.
So, who knows? It'll be real interesting to see.
Well, they claim that the name of the second one or the fourth one is going. They didn't want that to come out. Like they didn't even want it at the end. Like you'll see the Avengers again as they do before, because it would like. They said they want people to digest what's going on with this one. So they said they won't announce it for a few months. Then I heard them say that they were a little upset with themselves for making it such a big deal because they think it's overshadowing Infinity War, the name of the other one. And I'm like, no, it's not.
No, I don't think it is. I think it's just nice just to leave it go.
Miles said he thinks the name's going to be Avengers Back in Time or something like that. And I'm like, it's probably going to be something like that is my guess. Like,
yeah. Or Resurrection or something like that.
Yeah.
Resurrection or
they're gonna get a DeLorean.
A DeLorean. No, that was Ready Player One. That was already.
Yeah, exactly.
Which was an awesome movie, by the way.
It was.
Really awesome movie. So, but anyway.
We may have just changed this whole scope of the podcast into movie breakdowns.
Yeah, exactly. So all right. So that's that. I don't have any get off my lawn segment this week.
I have one little one, and I'm not gonna spend a whole bunch of time, but I text you today when I was sitting down. I ordered yesterday the NAR box, which I don't really want. I never had a need for it because I'm like, I'll just carry my laptop. That's so stupid. Well, now I'm going on a mission trip next week. I don't want to bring a laptop. I want to go super light. I'm not going out of the country, but I want to go super light. I just want my camera bag with my gear and my iPad. And I thought, okay, I'll order that NAR box. They had it on there for it wasn't Amazon. It was coming Prime though. So it was under Amazon's thing. $2.99, no tax. And I had like a $60. Oh no, was it used? No, I thought I had gotten a used one, but I didn't. It was actually $2.99, 128 gig. Anyways, I ordered it. I have it. It'll be delivered Friday. I ordered it yesterday, paid the extra $4. It'll be no problem. I wake up this morning and realize it never shipped. And I'm like, oh crap. So then I sit down for Infinity War, and I get an email, and I look, and it's, this order has been canceled. If you pay, don't worry, but we don't have it. But if you're looking for it, you can go to this place. And I'm like,
bullshit.
And this is the second time they've done this to me in the last couple of months. I ordered Miles the Infinity Gauntlet. It was like $100. It was like one that you could put on, and it actually moved around, made noise. And I'm like, cool. And I pre-ordered it like a while in advance. And then the day it was supposed to ship, I got an email saying that it was out of stock. And I'm like, well, for one, you should have known it was out of stock before you sold it to me a long time ago. But yeah, Amazon's they've been hosing me the last couple of times on some, because now I'm to the point now. So my thought now is I'm going to bring my iPad, and then I stopped and bought the Lightning SD card reader, which I don't really want to do because I'm going to bring my drone too. And if I have drone footage, then I got to get that little adapter to put, because this has only got the full size SD card, whereas the NAR box has got a bunch of stuff, and I could hook a hard drive up and dump it. It's just very upsetting.
No, I understand.
But anyways, Amazon.
Yeah, I guess so. Shoot. Bummer.
Yeah, but oh well, I'll figure it out.
Get off my lawn.
Get off my lawn.
No, I didn't have any idiots at the theater tonight, so that was actually quite nice. No one.
Most people, if they're going to go on that first day, they're just like, all right, everybody shut up.
No, that's right. You're right.
You know,
you're absolutely right.
Trust me, I had Miles' friend with me, and for some reason he was sitting next to me. I asked Miles, I'm like, switch seats so you and I can sit next to each other. He's like, no, I'm good. I'm like, okay. But I kept telling that kid, like, he would make a little noise. I'm like, shh. Like, shh. I don't know how it is in your family, son, but movies, we shh.
That's so funny.
So like I would tap, if he like was doing something, I'd tap him and be like, just give him the shh, zip it, kid.
When I got to the theater, you know, we'll end this right now, and then I'll tell you in a second. So that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed. Larry, I don't think you're not going to be here next week.
I will not.
So we're gonna have to figure something out. See if I can get like a guest or something. We'll see. I don't know what I got going on next week either. So, you can catch Larry at Geeky Nerd Dad everywhere.
Yes.
And I'm at Tech Examined everywhere. And links are in the description. You can check us out. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I know Larry and I enjoyed talking about it.
Yes.
A few things that we probably even missed, but I'll have to go back and.
If you guys did enjoy this style, let us know down in the comment section. If you're watching this on YouTube,
definitely,
or tweet at us at Geeky Nerd Dad at Tech Examine. Let us know, because Mike and I both enjoy movies a lot and see movies quite a bit. And even if it's an older movie or things like that, I think this was probably one of my favorite episodes we've done.
Yeah, this was awesome.
Yeah, so if you guys are enjoying it, let us know, and we could bring some more, sprinkle some of this stuff in.
Definitely. I might put that in the beginning of the podcast, you know, show it up and cut it up.
Nobody's listening this long.
Exactly. So, all right, we out. You guys take it easy. We will see you when we see you.
See you.
All right, perfect. So I get to the movie theater and I get out of my car and I turn around and there's one of Beth's schoolmates' moms. And I hear out of my other peripheral vision, another one of the other moms, and they're best friends. They both work at Hershey as well with Carrie, and they were there to see the Amy Schumer movie.
Oh,
and like, you know,
I Feel Pretty or something like that.
Yeah, and they were like, "Oh, where is Carrie at? She should have came and see this." And I was like, "Well, I'm going to see a movie too." And they're like, and they're like, "You're not going to see this, are you?" And Jenny, who's the other mom, she was like, "No, he's here to see Infinity War." And I was like, "Maybe." And we walk in, and I grab my ticket, and they're standing there, and I think they're waiting for someone else. I walked over. I said, "All right, are we going in?" And they were like, "If you're sitting in front of us, you got some explaining to do." I was like, "It's okay." I said, "I am actually here to see Infinity War." So it's all good. So I said, "I'm going to get my popcorn now."
Gotta go.
I was annoyed because I went up and I immediately I know always what I want, and I just do it and go, and I don't look anywhere else. Like, I have tunnel vision, and I go to pay and I look down to my left and they've got Infinity War cups with characters on top, and I'm like, I should have bought one. I was like, fuck it, I already paid for it. So, but anyway, upbeat. I didn't do a whole lot today. That was weak. That greatest Royal Rumble ever, the WWE pay-per-view, Saudi from Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, started at noon today, live.
Oh.
Because it was, 7 o'clock there at night. And the damn thing was 4 hours long. 4 hours. So I just put it on TV, and I just like, I was just doing different stuff, and I come back and be like, what's on? If I miss something, I just rewound it and watched a little bit of it. I'm like, I can't sit here for 4 hours. I was like, are you kidding me?
Jeez, oh,
I was like, 4 hours? And like, you've gone to bigger shows probably, and
Mhm.
they have like house shows. Like
Yeah.
I never go to a house show because nothing good ever happens at a house show.
Yeah.
This felt like a house show. Like no titles changed hands. Like nothing out of the ordinary. I was just like, what is the point of this? But one of the funniest things I noticed, like I go on Twitter and see what people are tweeting about the show. And because this was being taken place in such a strict country, first off, none of the women were allowed to perform there.
Mm.
None of the female wrestlers. It was all the guys. And the way that the arena was set up, they had like lounge chairs as around the ringside.
Mm.
And it was only maybe like 10 or 15 rows back, and it was like maybe 15 or 20 seats wide. But they were like I don't even know how to explain it, like a round back chair, and it was just like a luxury chair, almost like a for one person to sit down. And apparently it was for all the royalty in Saudi Arabia. They were the ones that sat there. So when you were watching the show, every once in a while, and this I see people tweeting this, and I'd go watch the TV and I'd be like, hey, the right. Some guys would just be kind of like standing there, like facing the other way, not even watching. And I'm like, you got so much money that you just buy these seats, which are expensive. And they're just like, yeah, huh? All right. So it's good. They're walking away in the middle of a match. They're not paying attention. The whole front row is empty for like the first, I don't know, like halfway into the show. Every time I'd look and I'd see the camera, wait for a camera, and I'd be like, oh, that whole front row is completely empty. And it was just like these, royalty, they just didn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Whoa, where did you go? You all
Echo?
No, you were all like pixelated there for a second.
I don't know.
But the funniest part, and you can, I think I tweeted it on Twitter. There's a wrestler, oh God, what's his name? I don't even remember his name. Let me see if I can dig it up here real quick. When did I tweet that out? I did about 4 hours ago. I said the best thing to come out of the Royal Rumble was the wrestler Titus O'Neil. He comes running down for they did the 50-man over the top Royal Rumble. He comes running down, and I don't know if he did it on purpose. I think he did. He trips and he goes head first under the ring. Like crashes under the ring, and he's like trying to get out. But the announcers, I don't think they told the announcers it was going to happen if he didn't do it or he did do it. But it stole the show. I was like, that was the funny, that's sad that was the best thing out of the entire show. A dude falling under the ring. So, but anyway, so did you see that the Cavaliers lost?
No.
Yeah.
I'm glad. That's game 7 now.
Yeah, and Toronto won, so that's over. So they're moving on. So, but I guess you still don't know who's playing in the next round, though. Even though Golden State and New Orleans are playing, tomorrow?
Yeah, tomorrow night, I think.
And they're not even done the first round for the other. I never understood that. It's like, how do you start the next round when the first round's not done yet? Like, it's like, okay, we're just going to start it now. Like usually,
we're good.
They don't do that in any other sport. It finishes and then everyone else's starts.
Yeah.
But whatever. So,
all
right.
Wrap this crap up. I'm tired.
Yeah, I'm beat. Everyone in the room, thank you so much for chatting with us. I think there wasn't a whole lot of people because
we spoiled everything.
Hey man, what's up with that ending? What ending? Are you talking about the ending of the movie, or are you talking about the end credit ending scene credits, like after the credits? See what he says. The ending, I think they did a great job with the ending, like making it seem like everybody.
Yeah.
If that's, like you said, if that's how it's the movie ending, well, it's the movie ending. Thanos won. it's
the end.
It's the end. That was it. It's Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
The bad guys really won. The good guys took a beating. They got to lick their wounds. They got to get back together and figure out what to do. It was completely random, just like Thanos said. It doesn't matter how rich you are, how poor you are.
Yeah.
It was completely random, like what they showed with Gamora when she was a kid. They broke up the planet, or the whatever, and
Yeah.
half people on one side, half people on the other, and they killed the one side, and that was it. That was the idea. Just basically, it doesn't matter who you are, it doesn't matter how rich or important you are, and that's how it is. But like Larry and I said earlier, we don't think that's the end of everyone. I don't think that's gonna be. But if it is, like Larry said, that the sister takes over as Black Panther anyway. So it doesn't matter who you are. It's the king that's the Black Panther. It's not the person.
Yep.
So, but then again, they did get rid of all those flowers, which I'm sure they could just regrow. I'm sure they regrow them.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't imagine.
I don't know. So, all right, that's it. Thank you guys. We out of here. It's late. We're old. Going to bed. Chumba Films. I think you're one of the only few left in the room. So, guys, have a good one. We will see you next time.